to BHookedCrochet.com. I'm your host Brittany. In this tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate how to make the magic ring using the single crochet stitch. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using a worsted weight yarn and a size 5mm crochet hook. However, you can use whichever yarn and whichever hook your pattern calls for. To begin our magic rings, we just want to take the tail of our yarn and wrap it around our first two fingers of our non-dominant hand 2 times, coming towards us. Then we'll just secure that tail under our thumb, and I'm holding on to the working yarn here with my other 2 fingers. And to begin the magic ring, we just need to place our hook underneath both of those 2 loops, and then we're just going to grab that back strand and pull it underneath that front strand. Now from here we need to grab some of our working yarn, so I'm just going to raise up those back 2 fingers that are holding the working yarn, and then I'm just going to yarn over and pull that through the loop on our hook. Now we've locked the magic ring in place, and since we're working in single crochets for this tutorial, we're going to chain 1. So I'm going to grab that working yarn again and pull through the loop on our hook. Now we need to get this situated in a more comfortable position, so I'm just going to grab onto my working yarn, and I want to make sure that that tail stays down and forward, and gather up your yarn. And I like to stick my ring finger, my middle finger, back into the loop just to kind of hold things into a more secure way. And I want to make sure that I have that tail coming down, and then I'm working over it as I go. So sometimes I'll just hold on to that with my pinky like you see here. To make a single crochet, we're just going to insert our hook into that magic ring, and then yarn over and pull up a loop, and yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. Now for this tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate by using 6 single crochets. However, you can continue with whatever your pattern tells you to do. Now I'm making sure, again, I'm going to stress this again, that we're working over top of that strand. That's very important because that's the strand that's going to close up our ring. So we want to make sure we're working over it, or the magic ring is not going to work. Now what I've done here was created my 6 single crochets, and so we're ready to close up the ring. So you can drop your working yarn for now. You want to secure the last stitch that you created just with your thumb there, and then grab that tail end and pull on it. And as you pull, it's going to close up the ring, and from here what we want to do is slip stitch to our chain 1. This was the chain that we created at the very beginning, and sometimes when you're working with single crochets it's somewhat difficult to see because the stitches are so much smaller and shorter. The chains are therefore more difficult to see, but if you look real close you can see a little V right here, and that is where our chain is. So I'm just going to insert my hook into that chain, and as you can see sometimes it's a little difficult, and then we're just going to slip stitch. So yarn over and pull your hook back through the chain, and then again through the loop on your hook to slip stitch it closed. Now what I like to do is go ahead and take care of the tail at this point before I proceed with the pattern. So you can just pull up on your working strand and grab your darning needle, and then you just want to flip it so that you've got the wrong side facing you, and then we can just work this tail underneath some of the stitches that we created. And in doing so, we're not only getting the tail out of our way, but we're also securing the magic ring so that it doesn't open back up on you as you work. Once you've got that pulled through a few of the stitches, you can just trim that tail off. And at this point, you're ready to continue with your pattern.